From author Brian K. Morris comes a classic hero in a high-flying, fast-paced, and action-packed steampunk adventure. The original Skyman battles the Master of Steam with an introduction by comics icon and historian Roy Thomas. A Rising Tide, an Ace Comics publication. Available now in print or digital format on Amazon.com.
Seconds.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Welcome to Nevermind the Furthermore, your morning dose of creative conversation and coffee with your host, Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance hybrid author, award-winning playwright, Facebook famous YouTuber, and former mortician's assistant. Get ready to start your day off right.
And good morning, everyone. How the heck are you? Welcome to Nevermind the Furthermore for Friday. Friday, May 14th, 2021. Hope you're having a great weekend lined up. And I've got a great show today. I've got two friends of mine. I'm really excited to have it here. So we're going to race through the introductions here. And your comments this morning, we'll flash some on the screen, but we won't be reading everything this morning. But if you have questions for my two friends, please put them in the comments. It's going to be more like Clever Title Pending than Nevermind the Furthermore this morning, but it's a great time to learn about comics and broadcasting from two people who actually know what they're doing, as opposed to me. But anyway, thank you to Plasma Fire Graphics for sponsoring this episode. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it matters to your readers. So please get the very best. Talk to Jeffrey Hayes at plasmafiregraphics.com. Also, please check out their Facebook, Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. And it should. Anyway, please, pardon me, haven't had any coffee yet, but we're still a happy part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Please check out our Facebook page. We've got information and education happening 7 days a week with shows like tonight, Drinking with the Davies at 6, Michaela J's Tidbits and Scribbles, and the lovely and delightful Nicholas Anthony Tockert on the Historical Fencing Guild at 8 p.m., where he'll teach you how to kill each other safely. It's always a fun time with Nick. And also Stupid O'Clock tomorrow night at 11 p.m., and also Comics, Chaos, and Sass Sunday nights at 10. Please check it out. You will be glad you did. And thank you to our Patreon subscribers. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can directly finance basically your favorite creators, and I hope I'm one. Anyway, please check out what I have to offer at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris, because we give you stuff for your contributions, but thank you very much. Also, don't forget our new book right now that's out right now called Snow Ambition, an Abraham Snow adventure, available now on Amazon. Please check it out. And now, with no more ado, we've had plenty of ado right now, and now I want to bring in, let me get the screen angle here so we can see Varian's lovely face there. And we want to welcome Varian Grant of Indie Volt Media and Randy Zimmerman of Arrow 4.0, two great broadcasters, two guys I like a lot and respect greatly. Gentlemen, how are you this morning?
Good. Varian needs to unmute his mic.
I'm doing well. Yeah, doing well.
Awesome.
Yeah, Varian, if that's the worst thing you do this morning, you're going to be okay. Last night I started one of my shows, and I was about 7 minutes in before I realized I hadn't hit the broadcast button yet. So,
yeah, actually, one nothing. I was actually here at I was here at 8. I was here at 8.
Really?
Yeah. Then I realized the show started at 10. I said, oh. I'm gonna go back.
Well, you guys are in what, Michigan, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're both on Central Time, right?
No, Eastern.
We're on Eastern.
Okay, I'm not sure where Michigan is. I used to live in Illinois, so I had to make that adjustment. And after about 7 years, I still am. So
only about a fourth of the Upper Peninsula is in Central Time.
Oh,
Here in
really?
Michigan. Yeah,
that's interesting.
it goes right up the middle of Lake Michigan.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, we've got areas here like the very northwest corner of Indiana and like the very southern tip of Indiana are both still on Central Time for whatever odd reason. Because until about 10 years ago, Indiana did not participate in daylight saving time. And then for God only knows whatever reason, they decided to abandon all proper sense. And here we are. So anyway, yeah, exactly. There's money has been exchanged. I'm sure of it. There's some sort of criminality involved here. So anyway, guys, I'm going to give you the floor and all the dirt on it. We'll start with Varian. Please introduce yourself to our audience. Tell everybody how awesome you are.
Oh, that's going to take at least an hour and a half.
I know. I'm going out for a pizza right now, guys. You don't need me anymore.
Hello, everybody. My name is Varian Grant. I am the founder of IndieVolt Media, LLC. Started making comic books back in 2008. I am a comic book artist, creator, publisher. I'm a geek, a gamer, a father, a husband, reluctant taxpayer, professional shouter, it's really cool to be here today. I have never been on Brian's show, so this is the first time that I've got a chance to come over here and sully the place up.
Well, if you can find a place to sully that I haven't, you're welcome to it, pal. Very in all honesty, I've been wanting to get you on here, but you and Randy are probably the only two people on this planet that broadcast more than I do. So, and I've taken Randy away once, and he was very gracious about that. But pardon me, I don't want to interfere with the empire here. So.
We wish that weren't so. We wish we didn't stream as much as we do. We actively both try to get out of it. And Randy always jokes about me having too many companies. Besides IndieVolt and my publishing, I own a distribution company, and the IndieVolt does so many different things now. So IndieVolt is like 5 different companies in one. So.
Oh, you poor man. Prosperity is a bear, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I'm burdened with glorious purpose.
Oh, you poor demigod, you. Well, anyway, here is the backup to, or the partner, or however you want to define it. Bucky to his Captain America. Here is the one, the only Randy Zimmerman. Randy, tell everybody how amazing you are.
That makes me the Winter Soldier, huh? I hate winter.
Yeah, look out. Keep both your arms close, man. That's all I can tell you.
Hey, everybody. I'm Randy Zimmerman. I have been doing independent and alternative comics for a long, long time, many, many decades. I started with Arrow Comics. Actually, I started with Just Imagine Comics and Stories out of Chicago, and then Arrow Comics in the mid-'80s, and been freelancing and in this business in one form or another because I love comics. So I'm very passionate about this art form, and am real happy to see it thriving, especially at our current point in time. So I've done publishing under Arrow Comics, Massive Comics, Weeby Comics. I've done a lot of freelance work for a large amount of independent companies. I've done retailing for at least a decade. I met my wife at while I was retailing at a comic shop. I've coordinated conventions, ran conventions, and done my own little newspaper for a good decade that I gave around the local area because I was so fed up with the direct market and its distribution system. And now everything with crowdfunding and distribution alternatives coming up, everything's changing. So I'm back into it, and I'm getting ready to do Arrow Comics again, the fourth incarnation of Arrow Comics that we're hoping we will have products out starting in August, available for the direct market. So we'll see how that goes.
Most excellent. And speaking of which, We have got, let's talk about this real fast. Now, you guys are, let me get the screen so I can see it. You're fully funded. And you've gone over, congratulations. And this is a great looking book.
You need to update that too. Hit your refresh button.
Oh, I will do that thing. I've had this up for shut up, Christian. I've had this up for like about 2 weeks so that I can keep track of it during the thing, and I can talk you guys up. And it's like, okay, you're at 2285 with 60 backers. Now that is fantastic, guys. And how many days? 17 hours. Holy
17 hours left. Yes, and when it's
holy
done,
cats, we got you guys here in time.
It's done. Yep, we're barely sliding in under the wire here.
Oh,
but yeah, when it's done, it's done. We're not going on demand. We're not going to Kickstarter. This is the return of Arrow Comics to printing. It's probably going to be 140 pages at least before it's done. All black and white short stories. You don't have to have read anything else to enjoy this book. It's a flip book where you're going in on one cover and then turning it over and going in again. It's just a great amount of stories. A lot of practically all of the stories are from contributors to Indie Volt. If they're not contributors, then they're longtime listeners. And it's just a great collection of short stories. I hate using the word anthology because in the comic market, for whatever reason, it seems to be a negative word. But I love short stories. I love especially comic short stories. So
that's what built this industry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how everything started back in the golden age. You had all these, all these characters in one book. Yeah. But and here it is again. It's a wide variety of styles, a wide variety of genres, and just a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, drops the names.
That's cover set one there. The cover is by Russ Leach, who does Only Death Can Save Us, and he has a story inside that is just amazing. It's about his character War, and it's a bar fight. It's pretty much what it is, but it's a lot of fun. And the story really reminded me of like a cross between Dave Gibbons and Gil Kane. It's just beautiful, and it's in wonderful gray tones. It's fantastic. And then the other cover for this cover set is Daphne Lage, who does Mischievous, which is a character that Susan Van Camp and myself created back in the mid 80s,
right,
for Tales from the Anniversary. Right. So when we started doing the anthology, Daphne mentioned that she wanted to be a part of it, and I just off the cuff said, "Well, if you want to do a Mischievous story, that would be cool." And then it was like, "Oh, can I?" So not only did she do the story, she sent me this great piece of art. So it's really Daphne's fault. I know how much Varian hates flip books, but it's really Daphne's fault that this is a flip book because I got so many great covers. I'm like, I don't want to do 4 variant covers. Right. Because I hate seeing that in the market, but two different sets is cool. That gives the collectors a little something, but not so much that they're like going, "Oh, you got 5 variant covers? I'm not buying nothing."
Yeah. Well, you could have done like Varian covers, which all just with photographs of Varian.
I tried.
Yeah, I know. He's missing out on the bet, Varian. We should have lobbied for this.
Yeah. I pushed it, and he wasn't having it.
I'm having a hard enough time just getting him to contribute to the book. He just realized a day or so ago that he is part of the book. He actually designed the Indie Volt fist.
Yeah, the Indie Volt fist. I drew that. So
that is cool.
So I'm on every cover. So
he's on every cover. The second cover set is by Chris Scalf, who did Jetpack Girl there, who really ties into another character series that we're going to be doing in Arrow Comics, and he does phenomenal work, mostly storyboard storyboard work now for advertising or other projects. But he's done like Star Wars for Dark Horse and a lot of covers for G-Fan, Godzilla, that kind of thing. And then the other cover for that is Retro Ram, who's also a character from Tales from the Anniversary. And that's got a very special story. That cover was done by Mark Bloodworth and finished by Jason Moore. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That cover was done by Kirk Jarvinen, who hasn't had anything printed in comics in quite a while. He did Aquaman Time and Tide. Right. Which was like the first miniseries on Aquaman that Peter David wrote.
Right.
And it's finished by Jason Moore, who's got a long history of inking and in the market. And it's colored by Chris Hall, who does a lot of work for Zenescope.
That's lovely. They all the covers
it's fantastic.
Lovely.
And that story, there's a story inside that's very special to all of us here at Arrow. That the late founder, one of the founders of Arrow Comics, Ralph Griffith, actually sat down and plotted. It's a story he was always bugging me about doing. And when he found out that his time on this plane was going to be cut short, I told him, he needed to sit down and write or plot or do whatever he needed to do as much as he could. Right. And he did he plotted this retro Ram story, and his partner Stu, his partner in Arrow Comics, Stuart Kerr, sat down and scripted it out. Then Mark Bloodworth went through and did breakdowns on it. Jason Moore did finishes and letters. And at the end of the story is a special tribute to Ralph that has a portrait in it that was drawn by Vince Locke.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's like a whole group of the real early Arrow people. Mm-hmm. So this whole book is dedicated to Ralph's memory. It's really the kickoff of Arrow Comics, which was his baby, and him and Stuart Kerr really created Arrow Comics to be a creator-owned company dedicated to creator ownership of IPs. And like I said, it's really where I got my start. So I'm really happy to be bringing the company back. And when I told Ralph I was going to do it, he was really happy to hear it. And he told me to take it and run with it for as long as I could. So that's what we're
fantastic. Doing. That is fantastic. Well, I'm glad to see that it has succeeded. But if we can get a few more people to back it in the remaining few minutes that we've got, I'm going to refresh my screen because I goofed on something here. So,
every 25 backers adds another 10 pages to the book. We'll find stories to put into it, or we'll make stories to put into it.
Yeah, there we go.
And the really cool thing about that book is that it's every story in there. They were created for the book. Mm-hmm. So there was nothing that I know some content is stuff that never seen print before. Yeah. But there was nothing that was like, oh, well, we have to, we have this, and it's been in 8 different other anthologies, So I want to throw it in yours. It was all created, which is why I'm not in there, because Randy wanted me to create something new. I was like, new? Oh, it's a pandemic. I can't create anything new.
Oh, I understand that. And this is, people know that I'm a relentless whore. This is the one thing you've got to buy. I'm not in it. I have nothing to do with it, so please support it.
That's how I felt. Like, it's got my company's name on it, but I'm not in this book. What's going on?
Well, this really also sprang out of the Indie Volt podcast, because we have a large internet radio reach that goes all over the world, and we've had people come in. We've met so many friends through Indie Volt, fast friends that we've built, I'm sure, going to be lifelong relationships with, that are in the business, that have contributed stories that go into this book, like Marvi out of Portugal, Jake Twister out of Norway, and Glenn Fleming and Russ Leach are both from Great Britain.
Right.
So, and they all have stories in this book. It's a great, fun volume. I can't express that enough. There's Glenn now.
Glenn, how you doing this morning? And can't wait for the Indie Volt Revolt book. It's going to be brilliant. I agree. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Because I'm an old fan of the original Arrow comics. I was in funny book retail at the time, and I was loving what was coming out of there. Plus, I remember Just Imagine Comics. I just found my collection of those recently, and there's some names in there that people would still recognize. Hey, good morning, Sydney Cap, CKOEP.com. Mwah! Check it out. She's also got a successful campaign. She's got $3,400 as her goal on Animal Eye #1, her very first comic book.
Sweet.
And she's got, as of last night, she was at $3,000.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and she just launched it about a week ago. So, yay. Yeah. And we've got all kinds of successful people around here. I am surrounding myself with success. Although at times I seem to be immune to it, but anyway, let's get some quick comments, and then I want to talk to Varian about his broadcast empire. Happy Friday, never mornings from Joe Bachman. Good morning to Teresa Dunn, Jake Lindsay. How you doing? Good morning to you, Carl Witzman, and Michaela Jaden. There won't be a show from you tonight. Oh, it's 2 surprise shows going for next week. Oh, look out! And yeah, I'm there. With any luck, we will go into. She works at an like doing lawns and planting and stuff for our company. And occasionally she'll slip her phone into her bra. So we'll be waiting for that. See, only the best for my people. Only the best for my people. And yeah, can't wait to see about the surprise show. Good morning, Carly, mwah, and Skunk Rocker. Good morning to you, sir. And today's weird random factoid is brought to you by Stupid O'Clock. 70% of the time, it works every time. And despite the creepy shopkeepers warning in the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, potassium benzoate is actually a good thing. It is a preservative that prevents mold from growing on your food. There we go. And Eric Hawkins, good morning to you. Thank you for being on Clever Time or on the Comic Book Spectrum last night. And this book, as you saw in the preview, has sound effects. We were Eric reviewed last night Berserker by Keanu Reeves. Uh-huh. And there's like all these violent pages in it, and there's only like about 2 sound effects in it. Like there's a horse being ripped apart by someone's bare hands, and it's all silent, like it's a Kurosawa film or something. So, and good morning to the Ninja Genko, and we are looking forward to listening to my 2 favorite shows combined. Yeah, we're like a Reese's peanut butter cup here, I'm telling you. Yeah. And good morning to Ted Davies Artistry and Bill Sarnan. Thank you for sharing us, Ryan Permissive. Please share this one and all, and bring Cookie home. Thank you so much, and we'll keep flashing comments on the screen, but we've got these 2 great guys here who made an effort to get up, and I do appreciate it. I sincerely do. And also, Randy's been on an episode of Clever Tile Pending. Please check it out. He's fascinating. And we got to get you on there too, Varian. You got yeah, seriously. It's but it's a scheduling issue. So as always, because Varian does his stuff at 9 p.m. Eastern every virtually every night. Plus, you've got special broadcasting now. Like Varian, how many shows do you have now? Seriously.
Now, 8 that are on, but there's like maybe 12 that are in production. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's an original series coming to Indie Volt TV, mm-hmm. And there is another show we're doing. It's a lot of stuff. Had to think on Amazon. Yeah, I wish it wasn't so many shows sometimes, but I keep coming up with ideas. People keep giving me good ideas. Pitches Be Crazy, for example, which is on Saturday at 2:30. Yeah. That I was given the name, mm-hmm. And you should do the show called Pitches Be Crazy, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And I sat on the name for about maybe 3 weeks while I kind of defined what the concept would be, mm-hmm. And because I knew, sometimes I think we take ourselves in the industry a bit too seriously. And we got Special Issue, which is our serious, show where we go deep dive into the issues. Okay, I do not want to have another show where we're, looking down our noses at the community and saying, hey, fix this and fix that and do this. And
not that you're doing that with the Special Issue show. No. But I want to have a lighthearted show, and Randy knows about my my passion for driving creatives like myself insane. I was going to say, I thought you were going to say sadism, but that's okay.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So, when I was, well, okay, I'm going to have these guys and gals pitch books and change the concept. Okay. Yeah. And pitch the books and change the concept on what the pitch is. So they're ready to pitch their book, but then we're told, oh, well, you got to pitch your book like Brian K. Morris.
Yeah.
And they have to figure out how to do that. And then they got judges who are like, nope, that's horrible. And, but the cool thing is the winner gets something. We back their campaign up to $50.
I think that is amazing. I love that. I think that's I can't think of any campaign that can't use it. Mm-hmm. And that is active support of the independent comics community. I think it's a genius idea. I love the show too.
Yeah, It's a lot of fun to do. It's a lot of fun to do that show. I'm not the host, so it's really cool to watch. From like other people thought I was the host. Apparently, they thought I was Brandon. Like that says a lot more about you than me.
It just means that Brandon is that cool.
It must be incredibly handsome gentleman because that confuses it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see we've got people astounded that this clash of the titans is occurring here from the desk of a small press publisher, and we've got some great people saying hello. We've been trying to flash your names on the screen. Welcome, Varian. Welcome, Randy, from our one and only. And there we go. And Winter, Randy from Pops Van Zandt. And Soapbox already, don't get him started. Dude, you've got three people. You pull the pin on one of us. We could rant at any serious second here. Bill Sargent has a question for both you guys. I never will get around to interrogating you two. Good morning, Varian Grant and Randy Zimmerman from Bill Sargent, the artwork of Bill Sargent. Check it out on Facebook. Question for both of you. What was your single favorite comic growing up and why?
Oh. Take it, Varian. Take it.
Yeah. So
you still need time to think.
No. My favorite comic growing up has always been X-Men. But my favorite comic that I have is probably this Batman Shadow of the Bat #1.
Oh yes.
Because I remember getting that book off the spinner rack in the comic book store. And thinking the art was phenomenal, and it still is.
Yeah.
And that cover, that painted like cover, and I was like, oh, and I remember, my father foolishly let me buy 2 packs of Twizzlers and a pop with that, and I remember going home and just reading that comic of those Twizzlers and just back and forth. I must have read that book 3 times because Batman was in Arkham. This is horrible. How did this happen? And that is it's my favorite comic growing up.
That's awesome. Yeah. How about you, Randy?
I have a lot of them. So when I was a little kid, it was the Barks Uncle Scrooges that I would find inside of the Walt Disney Comics Digest.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big thing for me growing up. Also, one of my favorite books is a Twilight Zone digest. I couldn't even tell you the number of it, that my parents ran across. I was raised in a very strict religious household. My parents ran across the Twilight Zone. They wouldn't let me have superhero books because they said it was too violent. And this was back in the late 60s, early 70s. And they caught me with a Twilight Zone comic where a guy was making a deal with the devil. So they made a deal with me that if I put through the digest in the fire, that I would be allowed to buy superhero comics. So I did that.
And did you ever go back and get that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
I am desperately looking for a Batman 80-page giant. I believe it's number 8 that I received a severe ass whooping for sneaking into the house. That had all Dick Sprang Batman stories in it, because at the time I wasn't allowed to have superheroes. But really, once I hit high school, I just started absorbing everything. And my very favorite strip is Simonson and Goodwin's Manhunter, that ran in the back of Detective, and they had a full story and the last appearance of the Paul Kirk Manhunter in Detective Comics. It's just classic stuff, and I still go back and reread it to this day and just ogle at Simonson's art. But I also had a copy of Giant Size X-Men #1 that I completely dissected when I was a kid. That because Cockrum was such a amazement to me, going through and studying the sequentials and the writing and everything on it. It was literally a textbook for me. Right. Growing up, it's very near and dear.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That's cool. That is so cool. Jeffrey Hayes, Happy Friday, Nevermore. It's Jeffrey Hayes at Plasma Fire Graphics. When look if your book matters to you. And Indie Volt Revolt, last chance. That's right, folks. We dropped the. Thank you, Pops. We have dropped the link in the comments here. Please check it out, and everyone. And this will not be in demand. Get it now. You heard from Pops, and everyone's saying hello to each other. And Rick Bradley, hi to you. Hello, Clyde Hall. Glad to see you here. And smash the like, share the screen. Thank you, the stream rather. Thank you very much. I'll get used to this English thing eventually. And there we go. And it is also endorsed by the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Please let's get a couple more dollars onto this project, because my favorite comic, it hasn't come out yet. It is Indie Volt Revolt. So
Aw.
there is my unsolicited testimonial. Don't chuckle all you want, guys, because after you guys are gone, it'll be Animal Eye #1. But anyway, please check it out. And Nita Lanning, glad to see you here. Good morning, gentlemen. What? Nothing
Nita.
for me.
Good morning,
What? And John B. Pica, good to see you. I was a Brock's Red Twist fan. Oh, yeah, I get that. And Joe Dog McKeel says, howdy, sorry I'm late. I am sending out invoices to vendors for HoloCon. That's going to be happening October 29th and 30th. And it's going to be a good time. We are going to get fed like no tomorrow, it sounds like. Come for the comics, stay for the food. And Keisha Acuff, hello, beautiful people. Mwah to you. Glad to see you here. And let's see. Because we had a comment dump. And do you guys get comment dumps on your show from StreamYard? Or do you actually manage to keep up on things?
No, never.
Yeah, we never keep up.
Never keep up. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
We skip people. We ignore people. We like I just did. We talk over people. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget. Like, do we have a comment section?
Yeah. That's easy to do. And Eric Hawkins, Varian, and Randy have great chemistry together. Always fun to watch. But I would love to hear more about Varian's distribution company. Yeah, let's talk about Liberty Entertainment. Varian, what's the genesis of that, and how can independent creators take advantage of your genius?
Well, Liberty is something I started now close to 6 years ago now.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
it shows how much attention I pay. Anyway, go on.
Well, the thing was, I started putting it together, and I had a business partner at that time who was like, I think I put Liberty together, like the basis of what Liberty would be, in like 3 weeks after a talk at a convention, and came back. I met with him after he got off work, and I said, hey, could you meet with me across the street from your job? I want to show you what I come up with. And I was gutted because he did not get it. In fact, I said, so look, I've got the office space, I got the warehousing all set up. We're ready to roll. We can launch it. We can launch at the beginning of next month. And he was like, whoa, don't spend any money on this thing. We have to figure out Diamond's formula and copy that. And it's after I had done all this research of how not to do Diamond's formula and what would work. And so yeah, Liberty. I started doing it on my own and talking to more people, getting a better sense of what creators and retailers actually needed. So our focus is indie comics, and it's a different type of distribution. For example, we don't set your prices. Creators set their own prices. So there are other distribution companies that will come in and tell you have to have it for this amount of money. We don't do that. There's also we protect the retailers by making sure we have the product in our warehouse before we ship it, or before we even put it on our website for ordering. That way we can ensure, one, fast shipping, and two, our retailers aren't getting screwed. I had a person come after me and say, oh, well, your company isn't that, you're not protecting retailers. No, this person's not protecting retailers. This person was asking retailers to back Vapor books that might not see the light of day. You order from Liberty, we've got that book in stock. Also, we have the Liberty Pledge. Again, this is why we worked with retailers. You can tell in the way the companies ran. The Liberty Pledge is that if you order a book from us and you've had that book for a while and you notice, hey, you know what? I ordered 8 copies of Popsicle Stick Man, and I'm sorry to the Popsicle Stick Man out there. I apologize. But I've ordered 8 copies of it, and I still have 8 copies. I don't think it's right to have the retailer take a hit on that book. That retailer can get in touch with his Liberty rep and get those 8 copies back to Liberty for a refund, or he can exchange it for something else. Doesn't mean that's a bad book. It means that book won't sell in his store, right? For some reason at that point. Now he may call us in 5 months time when Popsicle Stick Man is a huge book. Say, hey, can I get issues 1 again? And well, they're sold out now, But it's one of those things where we want to look out for retailers as much as the publishers, creators of these books. we ship our books, and I don't have one of the boxes handy, but we ship our books in these protective boxes. The books come, we call it from ship to shelf. The books come bagged and boarded already, so you can take them right out the box. They're invoiced, very cleared, very easily understandable invoice, and you can make sure you got your books, put them right on your shelf. Custom bagged and board. What else? They're wrapped to avoid damages and all types of stuff. Now we've got over. We're closing on 70 comic book stores.
Oh, that's great.
We're closing on 70, and I can tell you right now, in the coming months, there's going to be some more big news from Liberty that people are going to be very excited. We're excited for it. We're excited. I can't talk about it, but we are very excited for it, and it's going to be a bit of a game changer, I think. And yeah, it's all a testament to my genius and
your humility.
Yeah, my humility.
You should be proud of that humility.
Yeah, it's my. Sometimes I wish that I was like my child or even my wife, so I could look at me and just take in the greatness. I'll never be able to see me as a fan, and that hurts me.
I understand here, and my screen just automatically filled with you because just that little window was not enough to hold your amazingness. So, Varian, thank you for this mere sliver of time in the whole history of the universe that you no doubt created. It was either you or Jack Kirby, but Stan Lee's taking the credit. But this little fraction of time that you've donated to this lowly show, we are not worthy. We are not worthy. So anyway. We do have a serious question here, but I gotta get my compliments where I can take them. Nita Lanning, good to see you here, hon. I hope you're doing well. Not everyone has your gift, Brian. If I had to acknowledge all the comments, my head would explode. Well, we don't talk about the blinding migraines I get after every show, Nita, but thank you for the compliment. I do appreciate it. John B. Pike is right. Master Cockrum's art is masterful. And here's a question from Joe D. McPhee from the Desk of Small Press Publisher. How did you two get the nicknames Sup Ass Boy? You guys pronounce it better than I can.
Sup Ass Boys.
Sup Ass Boys. That's right. I need the inflection. That's what helps it work. I know it's Indie Vault lore, but I never heard the story of how that happened. What is the legend behind this legend?
A guy wrote in, and he started his letter like that. Mm-hmm. For a while, people were looking for the best way to open a letter, I think, to us. We have Indie Vault Live at indievolt.com. You can email questions into us, and the guy started the email with "Sup Ass Boys," like "What's up, as a Sup Ass Boys," and we just kind of took it like ass. I was just like ass boys. Why?
No, not ass boys. Sup Ass Boys.
Oh yeah, and so
I would get that cleared up as quick as possible.
Yeah. So it's like, well, what's a sup ass? But so yeah, it became kind of Sup Ass Boys, and we just took it and ran with it. That there's so many things that people will write in because we got that radio audience. Yeah. So many things they bring to the show. Last a couple weeks ago, we got Ass Queens.
We just got Douche Canoe not too long ago.
Yeah. What's the other one? Oh man, so there's so many. There's so many. Gorilla Milk. Yeah. Mexican water omelet. Was that it? California water.
Omelet. Yeah.
Well, we have names around here too, but I can't say them on the air, or else I lose my YouTube account. So. Anyway, Randy, I'm sorry.
We have fans.
And it's good that you do. It's good that you do. So,
I mean that in air quotes.
Yeah, big air quotes. Yeah. Fans. Just like Dr. Evil. Yes, we have fans. From the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, even my network has questions for you. Hello, all. Sorry for the late arrival. Doctor's appointment. I hope it went well. I absolutely love what you represent. And you guys do. And what one thing we didn't talk about, or we haven't talked about, is not only do you guys broadcast 28 hours a day, about 9 days a week, but you're also on other people's shows too.
Yeah.
So you guys are omnipresent. Now, I've been wanting to ask this since the start of the show, and Randy, I'm not trying to ignore you. We will
you're
bring you
fine.
in. I have a master plan for
Yeah,
this.
I talk a lot anyway. Go ahead.
I love it. Now, Randy, and I say this as a compliment. When you were on Clever Tile Pending a few months ago, you hold the record for introductory speech.
Oh,
I asked you, please introduce yourself, and you went about 35 minutes, and I'm just like, wow, this is awesome. This is great. And then I'm looking at the clock, I was like, wow, it's 35 minutes in already. Wow, this is cool. Less work for the host. But anyway,
okay.
And Randy gets a break after today. Pops, you aren't paying attention. No, these guys don't take breaks. That's the way it works. But anyway, Varian, how did you are a comic book creator. How did you get the idea of the Indie Volt broadcast empire, I guess you could call it? And I like the sound of empire. And how did you develop it? And then I want Randy to break in how he got involved.
Complete my name was complete ignorance of anything else. I was like, I was at a con and I seen a company come through with their microphones, and they're a well-known company, and they had a sticker on their camera, and they had a mic, they had a little mic flag on, and they were walking through the convention, and you seen all these creators kind of adjusting their shirts and just in display, like it's gonna be indelicate, but like children or orphans. They were like, "Oh, pick me!" Like they were, and these people just walk through. They didn't even notice, and they didn't make eye contact. They were like, "Oh, we're coming quickly, skid row, keep looking, look straight ahead. Don't make eye contact with these artist aliens." And they might ask you for buy my book, sir. And so they didn't stop, and I thought like, wow. And I'm watching these guys, and as they're passing, like each of them, like they're dying a little bit on this side. They're just like, and they walked right through, and they were trying to get down to a celebrity whose line was forming, because they were gonna take pictures. It was how they bring they bring the celebrities in for those pictures. I forget what celebrity it was too, but not that celebrity's fault at all. But the thing was, I was like, man, what if we had a network that just looked at indie stuff, didn't bother with the celebrities, didn't bother with because what if we had that? What if we just had that for us and took it seriously? And because I'm a trust fund kid, I was able to say, I'm gonna put the resources, try to put the resources there and take it very seriously, because there's a way you can make stuff look very good, but not have to pay that much money. And
we understand.
I started putting it together, and the website came first, indievote.com, and we started with 5 stories on the site. 5 stories, and I think I wrote 3 of them. And it's funny, just as well as I was getting ready to launch, some creators had gone and stayed in a hotel room that was full of roaches, and we covered that too. Like, oh, well, that's breaking news. I'll cover that. Hey, these creators, look. And I called the motel. I act like I was a actual journalist. Hey, why are these guys staying in this roach-filled motel? And so we got that started. It grew after that. We started Indie Volt Radio shortly after, if I'm remembering correctly. Indie Volt Radio, which is doing phenomenal. The numbers on there are great. I mean, when we go live, because any other time it's playing independent music and some pre-recorded shows, but after when we go live, we reach thousands upon thousands.
Seriously.
We reach 90. It's global. It's not just in the United States. It's and at first I didn't believe the numbers. I said, they're BSing. These numbers.
I didn't believe them either.
Yeah, these numbers can't be real.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then the weirdest thing happened. We started getting friend requests start pouring in from all over the country. And
no, the world.
Well,
all over the world. It's crazy.
India,
crazy good.
It is.
Africa, just wherever places that and then I thought they were bots too. I'm like, oh, these must be bots. And I'm clicking through and I'm noticing, wait a minute, this bot has Superman stuff and Batman pictures. And oh, look, this person has drawn Superman fighting, Iron Man. Wait a minute, this is an artist, and you can reach out to them and you're like, hey, how do you know me? And you get this very broken line of text that says, "Hi, ass boy."
It's what are you known for then that you need to ask? Well, that's great. That's fantastic. I love seeing it. And I notice that every time I'm on Sunday Funnies, 9 a.m. every Sunday morning. It's a great show with Randy Zimmerman, Daphne Lage. It's great. And I have a lot of fun when I'm there. But I notice I get a lot of requests too from basically 6th and 7th world countries that I didn't know existed. But a lot of them are like, it's a guy's name, but it's like a supermodel in their photos, but that's another issue.
We found out there was a retailer in the Philippines in a mall that was playing the show in the store over their speakers when we were on, because we broadcast at 9 at night. For them, it's the middle of the afternoon.
Right.
So or whatever time they would play the Indie Volt radio in the store. Which was crazy. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's amazing. Now, Randy, how did you get hooked up with Varian and this great enterprise of his?
I was doing, and I got to get a copy that I can grab right offhand. I was doing my own newspaper at the time because I was fed up with the direct market. It banged my head against diamonds walls too many times, and was going to get out of the business. Was doing a lot of commercial work at the time, and started a newspaper called Flint Comics and Entertainment that I was giving away, advertiser supported, running comic strips of all types in my local area. And I did a convention once a year as a thank you to everybody and to give the talent a chance to be seen by the readers. So I'd give tables away to anybody that contributed to the paper. So of course Varian suddenly wants to contribute to the paper. No, just kidding.
He knew what he was doing.
Well, what happened? He came in from another friend of ours, Chad, who has had his own comic company. I'm not sure if he's still printing now or not, but Varian and I started talking at the shows, and I was doing the paper, and the paper was starting to wind down. The water situation hit Flint, and we all know about that. And the independent advertising dollar from the mom and pop places, which was the bread and butter for the paper, was really going away. Or that, a lot of these businesses were having a real rough time surviving. This is about 2015 or so. Well, Varian starts talking to me about the direct market again, and he mentions there's these guys on this YouTube doing videos that are talking about the industry, and you ought to listen to them because it's exactly what you're talking about. So I sat there and started, looking on YouTube and studying what they were doing, and Varian was talking to me about his internet radio thing, and I was watching everybody podcast, so I'm like, maybe we should do this. We can get together and do that. And Varian said, yeah, you got the old man perspective and I've got the young kid perspective. So maybe we should do this. So that's the way the podcast really sprung up.
That's fantastic.
And then it's just grown out organically from there. We figured out a lot of our audience when we broadcast at 9 p.m. are fast asleep, or, they're crazy artist people with artist hours where they stay up till the early morning their time doing work, and they're listening to us. So we started doing broadcasts at 9 a.m., which is afternoon over in Europe, and getting an audience listening to us there. So we started Thursday morning. Then I wanted to do a fun broadcast. We started Sunday night. We tried a few other things that didn't work. And, as we go along, we pop shows up, and if they don't work, then, Varian kills it and tries something else. So now we're up to pretty much 7 days a week.
Yeah.
But only like 2 hours a day. So
that's good.
And it's not all us. So we have a lot of other people that come in and help.
Yeah.
I should say Varian has a lot of other people.
Well, I've said this before, Randy's a big part of the network. A lot of this, he doesn't believe in it. A lot of it needed his, him making it legitimate. Because I think that a couple of decisions I would have made would have been disasters. And
well, one of our first discussions, he was going to run a 2-day show in Detroit,
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to run a 2-day show. You want to be a guest at 2 days? And I didn't even remember it until he showed me the flyer for the thing.
Yeah.
A year or so ago. I'm like, really? Well, yeah, I guess so. But no, I do remember the conversation because I told him, no, you don't. Do your research. You don't want to do that. You're going to lose your ass.
Yeah, because I booked Cobo Hall.
Oh my!
As our convention center,
the biggest hall in Detroit he could find. Yeah.
the one I heard of. Yeah.
I had booked Cobo Hall for this event, and it was going to cost me a pretty penny, but and it was I had three guests of honor: Randy, James O'Barr, and Kevin Sambidio.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, these are my three guests of honor. And it was, and I believe it or not too, I also had Fago endorsing the show, sponsoring the show. I've always been able to get good sponsors. That's weird. I should probably try AA.
Hey, Fago's a good sponsor.
Fago is a great sponsor. Just ask the Insane Clown Posse.
There you go.
See? You could have gotten them in there.
I could have. They got their own show here. Well, they don't have it. And the group they used to be associated with has their own show here.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Not here, but in Detroit. Yeah.
here in this plane of reality on this planet. Okay, yeah. Now we've got that narrowed down. We've got some more comments and questions from people. Rick Bradley says, Empire. We were talking about the Indie Volt Empire. Does that mean that an Indie Volt Death Star is in the works?
Yeah, but you don't want to know what it's shaped like.
Let's just say that Luke's got a really long landing strip. He's got to, get that little rocket into. And it comes with batteries. So
where that ray shoots from is.
And this is one of the few shows, guys, that you can guest on where that sort of talk is, almost mandatory. And Christian Elizabeth Jake Lindsay says, now I know what censoring feels like. Oh yeah, because we don't read every comment. We don't have time. We are here for our guests, and these guys were gracious enough to be here at this ungodly hour of the morning. So anyway, Nita Lanning says, damn V, trust fund lad, private investigator, VJ, DJ, every day, something new. So
yeah, VD as well. No, I'm just kidding. No.
That's why he has his own window.
Yeah. The trust fund kid came because someone started. They said, Varian can do all this stuff because he's a trust fund kid, and I was like, I'm taking it.
Okay.
Right? It wasn't hard work. It was a trust fund. It wasn't. I was like, oh, okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
It wasn't sweat equity. It was trust fund.
Yeah.
Because God knows there's no work that goes into something like this. So, yeah, I get it. Now, I'll give you guys some good news. John B. Pike, I just subscribed to your YouTube.
Thank you, John.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Appreciate that. And
we're desperately trying to get to that 1,000 mark for two reasons. One, so that we can accept super chats. So maybe we can pay for Varian's streaming in order for us to reach everybody around the world. And two, so that we have to watch what we say.
Yeah.
So that we can always blame the censors and YouTube for if it gets too far out of line.
That's the sort of thing that draws viewers. Are you kidding? Have you watched some of the tin hat foil crowd I do on YouTube? Good Lord. If you guys would just start beating up on sovereign citizens and flat earthers, I mean, you could be, like that. And by the way, I do want to brag. Yesterday evening, we passed 500.
Sweet.
On this channel here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far. But if you like me, if you tolerate me, if you do, please subscribe to the Indie Volt YouTube channel as well. And if you hate me and you want to get under my skin, make sure these guys stay ahead of me. Make sure they hit 1,000 first, okay? And now watch. You guys are going to hit 1,000 before the end of my sentence. Good morning, Molly Danielson. Damn right, hashtag always promote. And yeah, Joe Dog McKeel, always time for a witty comment. And he forgot investigative journalists. And thank you very much, Pops fans. I'd appreciate it. And check out CromCon at the end of this month. It's always a good time. And the Rising Tide Broadcast Network says you guys are really changing the world of independent comics and independent media coverage. Are you expanding into games, and what kind of new horizons are you pursuing?
Well, there's no games yet, but there is something tomorrow. That we'll introduce something new from Indie Vault. We'll introduce. I gave Randy 60 days to run the campaign, because we're releasing something that I didn't want to take away from the Indie Vault Revolt book.
Oh, I didn't know you were waiting on me.
Oh no, it was like I was like, I'm not going to open this up because I didn't want to create confusion. I didn't want to be promoting something else, because sometimes people are like, well, "Wait a minute, these guys have something else going on." So I just figured I'll pull a Daphne Lage and just hit them the minute that closed. Even though it's not going to be a Kickstarter campaign or Indiegogo campaign, it's just something else, and I didn't want to take away from the Revolt book, which closed tonight. Closes out tonight, so we are
tonight at 9 p.m. because we're always on the 9s. Yeah.
17 hours left, people. Let's get on this. All right, it's a good book. You definitely will want this in your collection. 130 pages of comic goodness, all original stories. So
it's
we're at least 130. It might end up being even larger. So
we're doing a special stream tonight at 7.
We are
starting at 7 to promote, and we're gonna stay on, watch the book close out. We're gonna have some guests come in and out. And clear the airways. Cancel your show if you're doing one.
Then we'll be done with the Revolt book, and we'll move on to the next big things. So
yeah. And I've been seeing some of the plans for Arrow 4.0 that are coming out. That's pretty darn impressive. That's really.
I got to tell you, we got some great books coming.
That's cool.
And I can say that because I'm not involved with all of them, so it's all good. Russ Leach doing Only Death Can Save Us. We've picked up Luke Stone's hybrids that we're going to do on a monthly basis. Only Death Can Save Us is going to be bi-monthly, and there's a lot of other plans. And again, we'll be announcing those in the next few weeks. But it's a wide variety of stuff and going to be a lot of fun.
That is super. Bill Sarton, I didn't miss your comment. We just had a comment dump. Randy and Varian, considering the mess in 2021 that is creating all kinds of complications, where do you realistically see the future of mainstream comics?
How long is this program?
I'll guess all pizza, guys. I'll go out and get it myself. Yeah.
I just want to point out, he called you Variant.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's okay. He's actually Varian's actually named off of a 70s science fiction television character.
That's right. I forgot
from
about
Fantastic
that.
Journey. Yeah.
Yes, one of the best series ever.
One of the shortest too.
It's like the Firefly of its day. I had the biggest crush on Katie Saylor. So yeah.
There you go. I had my mom actually made the shirt for me when I was a kid that Varian wore.
Oh, wow.
He had a special cut shirt with a wide collar, and he also had a gun that was a tuning fork. It was really interesting.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So they could just put a little light bulb inside of a plastic, fork thing, so that when he shot it, it'd light up, and then something would explode across the set.
Now, my name came out of a Greek baby book, but I had no idea about the Fantastic Journey stuff until Randy told me, and I was at a con, and this guy was like, "Your name is Varian? Is that your real name?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "Holy crap!" And he reaches behind me, pulls out this DVD set, and he hands it to me, and it's a Fantastic Journey. I'm like, "Oh crap! Somebody's actually got this." He's like, "Yeah, look, this guy's name is Varian," and I'm like, "Okay." Because before that, it was Varian Fry for me, who had during the Holocaust had saved a lot of people, but he had a list, and it contained like creatives. Mm-hmm. He saved a lot of great painters, musicians, artists, and got them out of the Holocaust. So I went from Varian Fry as a namesake role model to tuning fork Varian. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
tuning fork gun.
Tuning fork gun. Yeah,
tuning fork gun. See, that makes you special, Varian.
Yeah.
But the future mainstream comics, I'll give Randy the floor because he's gonna.
We soapbox on this a lot, but it's really great. It's a great time to be doing alternative and independent comics. You're going to see a lot more individual voices out there, and none of that's going to come from the mainstream, because your corporate bosses, your AT&Ts and your Disneys, they honestly think that print is dead and that the comics don't mean anything. And in the long scheme of their large corporate empires, the money that these mainstream books pull down is so minuscule that they let people run roughshod over these products and literally run them into the ground. And that's a shame that we're seeing all of the icons that we loved when we were kids literally being bastardized and eroded into silly variations and stuff that would make the old style What If comic and the old style Elseworlds books that the mainstream used to do hang their head in shame and go, no, we didn't really mean to do that. We didn't, no. But on the other hand, that works really well for us because we know better. We know that this is a viable art form and that there will always be that combination of word and pictures out there, whether it's physical or digital. Hopefully it's always going to be physical in one form or another because I love holding it in my hand. I love collecting books, collections of different comics and that will always be out there, even though these large corporations just want to shrug it off and turn it into basically IP farms. But I think you're watching now the mainstream won't be mainstream within the next 4 or 5 years because those numbers are dropping like a stone because you're seeing a lot of very badly done substandard product out there. And on the other hand, in the alternative market, you're seeing some incredible creativity, some great growth. Yeah, it's sure there in every medium you have out there, you're going to have a level of garbage, but the level of gold that you're seeing in the alternative and mainstream markets now is just climbing so far, so fast. It's totally impossible, honestly. Completely impossible to keep up with it. We're still on Indie Volt, where I'm still running across Kickstarters and Indiegogos I'd never heard of before that are phenomenal. Mm-hmm. That I'm like, oh man, this is so like Russ Leach's Only Death Can Save Us book. If we didn't have the Indie Volt podcast, we'd have never discovered Russ Leach. We'd have never seen the quality that product was. And it's like I keep saying on the show all the time, this is the kind of product that the minute you see it, you have to invest because it's so good. It's professional, it's polished, it's creative, it's amazing. And that's kind of the stuff that I want to get back and start doing with Arrow Comics and put that kind of level of creativity and ingenuity and stick that back into the retail market. Because ever since the direct market started, and I'm an old dog, I was around when the direct market originally kicked up. And saw how it all narrowed down to Diamond and the way that the market has eroded over the years. The direct market, just like comics and print comics, is still a viable market and needs to be fed and needs to grow. And despite what the mainstream guys want to do with it, which is completely drive it into the ground and turn it into a collector's market where it's more important for you to take a variant cover and have it slabbed than it is to find that great event book where something actually happens and that their universe changes, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think you're going to see the alternative market literally mushroom out and grow tremendously. And you're going to see the mainstream market shrivel. And unless they catch themselves, which I'm not expecting them to do, quite honestly, they will eventually lose interest and decide that they're not making enough money or that the mainstream comics aren't productive enough and just stop producing. Yeah. And we've been threatened so many times the last 3 or 4 years. DC's going out, Marvel's going out. There's a huge cutback here. There's a huge cutback there. You're not seeing that in the alternative market. You're not seeing that in the independent market. You're seeing people go, hey, my campaign just made 5 figures, or hey, my campaign just made 6 figures, or hey, my campaign made 7 figures. Mm-hmm. You know, and you can try to go in and polarize this art form and fill it with soap opera, stupid politics and drama and all of this crap. But in the long run, it's the entertainment value in this art form that's going to rise to the top, and it's going to sail above all of this mess. So the way that we do that is, quite frankly, going out and encouraging and investing in backing the creative books, the books that have that spark of imagination. Who cares what the creative team thinks or is done, as long as it's legal, or their political viewpoint. If the product is awesome, It's an awesome product, and it needs to be backed. It needs to get out there and invested in and shown around and talked about. That's part of the fun with podcasts like what Brian does and what we do, is that we get to talk about this great stuff. You get when I was retailing, and it was years ago that I was retailing, the retailers that the comic shops that sold the most were the comic shops that when you walked in, you saw the person behind the counter, maybe not the owner, but the person behind the counter would get that twinkle in their eye and go, hey, if you liked X-Men, you're going to love Teen Titans. And it's talking about these works and the quality, pushing the better quality works that's going to help raise this entire industry. And I think it's time to stop thinking in terms of mainstream or alternative or what platform you're on or whatever moniker or label that you want to throw on yourself, and just promote good comics. That's the real key here. We need to promote this art form and raise it up to a level that it deserves to be at. And it's one of the best, most unique, most personal, could be the most personal form of communication that is out there. And it just needs to be promoted. And it needs to be seen by as many people as possible in as many ways as possible. Is that enough? I'll get off my soapbox now.
Dude, I wish I had an audio for like a standing ovation for you. Seriously, I couldn't agree more. And we talk about that occasionally on on my show, which was inspired by Sunday Funny, the Sunday Morning Funnies. Comic book spectrum, where we frequently talk about how hard it is to find not just good comic books, but fun comic books.
Yes,
entertaining. Entertaining. I went into my local comic shop yesterday, and I wanted to try something different because all my other because our panel is always reviewing other things from other companies, and I'm thinking, well, I should probably review something other than Superman books. And by the way, check out my Superman book review last night on Comic Book Spectrum. I've fallen into a rut, but anyway, I was looking around for something really cool to read, and the closest thing I found was a new JLA book. And it was all about, everybody arguing with each other, and the league is about to dissolve, and Batman did something that got somebody else killed, and, Clark and Bruce are at it. And I'm like, this is not what I want to read.
Nope.
I want something where, I remember like the comics of my misspent youth, where you had new worlds to explore, bright, shiny things, out there that, deserved your attention, and all kinds of great creativity. It's like Superman now has the head of a lion. Well, what's up behind that? I've got to check that out. And actually covers, and this is my new kvetch, comic covers that have absolutely not one damn thing to do with the contents inside. I expected in the variant issues. I'm now starting to call them variant issues. The variant issues where they're expected to be works of art. They're expected to be something that you could make a poster out of and frame. That's fine. But they're not trying to actively sell the comic inside anymore. It looks like, because so many of them are just like, here's this lovely posed character that, hey, I can resell the original art later. But anyway, that's my soapbox. That's why I'm so happy to back the Indiegogo Revolt. The Revolt thing, because it just looks like so much freaking fun. I miss that. So
I think that what Randy said about the and what you said, Brian, about the characters sitting around arguing now. They sit around there. I think that okay, we can kind of delve into our characters. I mean, everybody wants to be Alan Moore. And kind of deconstruct the superhero. And that's fine, but that's all anybody wants to do. To now, these characters are almost contradictions of themselves. They just can't be this character that we've, all grown up, loving. That when you take them too far out of the realm of who they are, it becomes a what if book. I mean, they made Peter Parker a millionaire for a second. He was Tony Stark. And it's like, and now how can you go back to being poor after that?
Yeah,
the everyman hero. So I think there's room for the comics where that you deconstruct the superhero, but don't forget to put them back together when you leave. And there are some steps you just can't take. Having said that, I'm totally against one of the upcoming books where it's going to be 12 issues of a dinner party. 12 issues of a dinner party, and it's like, what? And everyone's their costumes are so awesome. Look at what they're gonna be. Look at what they're gonna be wearing. Marvel's done a really good job of marketing this to people who are probably super lonely. I got my invite. To the party. It's like you know you're not going anywhere, right? I mean, you know that. I mean, I'm convinced the first person, someone's gonna make me cringe. Someone's gonna go to the comic shop dressed up to pick up the book. Like, today's the first day of the Hellfire Gala. Look at my outfit. How do you think? What do you think? You're not going anywhere. You don't have any friends.
Neither's the story, but that's a whole nother matter.
True.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no. And I hate it when two superheroes show up wearing the same outfit. You know, it's just it's humiliating. I'm telling you.
Well, we've always been an art form of over exaggeration. And that's in the past, it's always been in whimsy and in fun and in entertainment. And now we seem to be over exaggerated in darkness, angst, and realism. And that's not the way that you're going to build an entertaining marketplace. There's definitely a place for that. There's been some incredible books. A lot of those are independent books too, like from Art Spiegelman and that Mouse and ever since Eisner did A Contract with God, and Picard did American Splendor. Slice of life books are a viable venue, but so's all that whimsy and fun that used to be out there. None of these big mainstream guys are doing an old-fashioned superhero book that I'm aware of. So, and it needs to be done. It desperately does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I fully agree. And we've got some more comments here, some great comments. Joe Dog McKeel says, life is wonderful. I mean, it is. And you should be here to enjoy it and to irritate people. That's kind of like the basis of my publishing group. Thank you, honey. My honey's brought me more coffee, so I can finish out the show. But anyway, thank you, Joe Dog McKeel. And we were talking about behavior standards as the IndieVolt network grows. And Nita Lanning says, crap, well, I won't be allowed any on anymore. You and me both. So anyway, and thank you very much from the Desk of Small Press Publisher. Appreciate that greatly. I really do. Joe Dog McKeel says, I love a good thick book. They are so great to reach the stuff on top shelves in the cabinets as I now watch my author friends drop from my friends list. Yeah, and they have a retailer package on the IndieVolt Revolt.
Yep.
Yeah, so if you get that, you'll get 8 issues of the book.
You'll get 3 copies of each cover version, so you'll get 6 books. Then they're going to carry a $19.99 cover price on it, and we're asking $75 if you're a retailer. Mm-hmm. You'll get that. Plus, once I still have an offer out there that I haven't been taken up on. The next retailer to come up that I know you're a store, or that you show me that you're a store, I will send you, along with those 6 books, the 3 copies each of each cover version of IndieVolt Revolt. Mm-hmm. I will send you 2 copies of every Arrow comic I do for the first 2 months.
That's a deal
for you to put up on the shelf. So that's another $40. That's another $80 worth of stuff. For you to put up, because our books are coming out at $4.99 on the cover, because I figure by August we'll be right there with Marvel and DC at that price point.
Yeah, that'd be great. And you could market it. I've seen those little plastic stands that you put your feet up on when you're on the crapper. That's supposed to help your movements and everything. Sure. I'm telling you guys, you're missing a bet here.
Squatty potty.
Yeah, squatty potty. Yeah.
That's right. So see, this is why I like hanging out with you guys. I like supplying the great ideas, and I'll be there drinking with the Davies. I'll be there drinking after as soon as the show's over. And blessings come from the strangest places, says Joe Dog McKeel, and usually after an unselfish, random act of kindness. Now that is true. That is true. And what the hell am I getting all philosophical for this morning? That's okay. Just lie down. It'll pass. And then we've got a whole bunch of promotion from Cindy Cap. We will flash that on the screen as we talk to from the Desk of Small Press Publisher. Be sure to watch IndieVolt's Pitches Be Crazy. It's going to be the breakout hit as creators come on for heavyweight pitch fighting, where winner gets $50 towards their campaign or a project. And Jody McPhee is one of the judges. Always interesting. He is a great broadcaster himself. Please subscribe to his channel too. And happy Friday to you, Cindy Capmois, CKOEPP.com. Sign up for her newsletter. And we got an update. Animal Eye, which is her Kickstarter campaign, is at 3129 with 36 backers, and the most recent backer broke the pattern. So congratulations, Cindy. I'm confident now you're going to hit that 3,400. Hopefully before the weekend is over.
I'm interested to know what the pattern was.
Yeah, she was noticing a pattern of donations to her campaign that she doesn't like rough language, guys, but you might want to get her on your shows. She's pretty interesting. She's just starting. This is her very first comic book script.
Okay.
And I will say that, and I'm not saying this to say I'm all that, but she reached out to me and several other people to ask how to write a comic book script. And she got a visit from Dr. Tough Love, and she actually came back and sent me the revised script after I read that and this is for Animal Eye #1, which is based on her latest novel. After I read that second draft, I said, here are some further corrections you can make. The third draft, send directly to your editor. There's nothing more I can teach you. And it looks good. And it's all ages.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it is really lovely. It really is. The Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Hey, I know those guys. With all the new voices, how do newer creators keep the signal above the noise of the crowds as more folks join the independent comic industry? That's a great question. How there's a lot of competition for the money and for the attention. What would you suggest a new independent creator do to get that attention onto themselves and their product?
Well, Randy, you want to go first?
My recommendation is to know the market as much as you possibly can. Back when Varian told me to start looking at podcasters, I ended up spending 6 months of my free time, to my wife's dismay, sitting in the chair in the living room running YouTube videos and listening to everybody and what everybody does and how this person works and this person's totally irritating. That person is full of BS, that kind of, and I would call Varian every once in a while and say, did you listen to so-and-so's podcast? That was bull. That's not how that worked at all. I was there, that kind of thing. And now I'm to the point where they had for example, a Cartoon Kayfabe, which is an awesome, another awesome site where these guys pull out books and just marvel over them. They pulled out a copy of Caliber Presents #1, and I'm like going, don't talk about me. Please don't talk about me. I did the lettering on one of them stories, and it's crappy. Don't talk about me. So luckily they didn't, because they were marveling at the cutting edge outlaw comic, which I never realized was a thing that the book was, because it had Obar and a whole Tim Vigil and Tim Tyler and all of these great cutting edge outlaws, I guess they call them, that had done work into that book. I stopped watching their channel because I was not getting any work done, because they would sit there with a camera over top of the book and just go through the book. Hey man, this looks awesome. Look at this, man. This is, look at how he did this with up the nose. And I'd have to stop working to look at what they were talking about. Never got anything done. So I had to stop watching their channel, but I still watch it occasionally when I see them covering different things. But yeah, sorry, I got sidetracked. You have to get to know your market and then understand that you're going to get in here and make mistakes. That's the second thing. Don't get discouraged. If you want to do it, do it. Make sure as quickly as possible you get a book, a physical book that is yours, that you can hold in your hand. Because I tell everybody that point, when you hold your book in your hands for the first time and you smell that ink and you look through that book and it's your love sitting on that page, as you make that decision right there if you're going to do this for the rest of your life. And that goes such a long way to helping you get out there and be tenacious and stay out there, get noticed, and then get your foot in the door, or get people talking about you and building up from there. It is a slow climb, but it's a rewarding climb if you want it.
Exactly.
I think it's important to, when you get in the industry, do a lot, like Randy mentioned, do your own research, do a lot of it. There's a lot of, Randy used to call it professional mushrooming, but it's not even professional mushrooming. There are people who, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Like
that happens more in the mainstream.
Yeah, right.
Mushrooming's where you're stuck in the dark and fed a lot of BS.
Yeah, and
and you grow in your own little area. You never know what the whole market is all about. Yeah.
And there are people who have that maybe they're a little bit they're wild mushrooms. For some reason they're outside and they're growing in the dark. They're growing outside, but they're like, I don't want to look at any of that stuff. I don't want to hear about any of it. I had a talk with a gentleman many years ago about some of the stuff that was going on, and he did not. He told me, I don't want to hear about any of that. I don't follow that, and because he didn't follow it, it ended up biting him in the butt and costing him his career because he didn't follow. He didn't, So don't get into cults. Don't get into cliques that only that demand that you only be with them.
Yeah.
You want to stand out, be able to expand your network.
And all of this information's out there. You don't have to take a special class or a course in order to understand anything. You just have to get out there long enough and learn it. Yeah. And you see lately I've seen so many people offering classes of stuff that you learn in 2 or 3 years anyway. You don't have to have, there's no secret formula. There's some people out there that have done things that have made them money, and you need to know what those are. You need to look at even the people that you hate. You need to go out there and understand if somebody's making money, making a living in this business, and you want to make a living in this business, you need to understand how they made a living so that you can adapt it to your system.
Mm-hmm.
Comics have been very, very good to me.
Very,
very good to me. Yeah. I was going to also say, this for the young creators coming in too. I said this on my Facebook the other day, but listen, I watched a display of what I felt was really a big show of disrespect on the show last week. And, respect these individuals who have been here before you. They're a wealth of knowledge. They're offering give to you for free. They're not charging you. They're not some, 30-something, who claims they got the secret sauce, and if you pay them, $20 a month, you can get their masterclass. These are guys that you can actually call up, say, hey, we pop in a StreamYard, you can get the information for free. They're willing to, and for you to disrespect those people shows a complete lack of business sense on your side, but also just disrespecting just ignorance of the industry,
and a lot of us experienced guys, all you got to do is ask us a question, and if you got a half an hour, we can tell you.
Yeah.
Anyway, and we love talking. That's why we're doing this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I watched the display the other day, which is like, even I went back and rewatched it. I'm like, wow, yeah, that's just disrespectful. Like, I watched someone tell someone, they were completely wrong. And it's like, this person's watched them put this stuff together and take it apart. They know what they're talking about. So
that's the guy who was boasting he was his age and he knew a lot. Is that who you're talking about?
Well, no, there was, and there's been some other instances of it. It's like just disrespecting the elder statesmen. Statesmen and stateswomen, I should say.
It's amazing how naive a lot of people can be in the business also. Like just the last couple of broadcasts that we've had, we've run across a guy who drew and printed his own X-Men book and wanted to know why he was getting a cease and desist.
And a lawsuit.
It says, how dare they treat a Marvel artist like this? And it's like, dude, you're not working for Marvel. You're working for yourself.
Oh my God. I clenched when you said that, man. It's like, hey, Mr. Mouse,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
That's what my big recommendation to him was to grab a lawyer and fall on your sword as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And just apologize, tell him you didn't know how it worked, and take your hit.
Yeah, I tell people, you got to tread carefully, or especially around the big two, because Marvel is the company that, or actually Disney is the company that actually sued a daycare center because they painted images of the classic Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, etc. up on some of the walls for the kids and put it in their advertising, and you have to do it. Unfortunately. You have to defend your brand, unfortunately.
People get in car accidents and they're okay, but then when they go into court, they come in there, they're They got their leg in a brace, their neck in a brace. They're all in a wheelchair. They're rolling. Oh, I suggest he do something very similar when he goes to court for that lawsuit. I suggest he goes in there, ask a friend to lead him in. Talk about the pretty colors on the wall. Just seem like he's completely out of it. Just
I'm sorry I'm in such shape, Your Honor. I was rescuing a busload of nuns and orphans on my way in, and this happened. So that's good advice. Yeah, and I do see that occasionally. So many, even one is too many. People putting out. I remember there was something like about a year ago where somebody was going to put out their own Star Wars comic. And I'm like, oh, no, you aren't.
That was on Kickstarter, too. They tried to kickstart that, and it took them forever to take it down.
Yeah, I backed it because I wanted to see what was going to happen. I backed it. I was like, I'm backing this right now.
And it was really professional looking, too. So
It was good looking. That was the problem. It's like, why can't you be doing like stick figures when crayons and crap? And why are and if you're that good, why aren't you trying to maybe put a portfolio together and send it to Marvel? Maybe you'll get to work on some legit stuff. So.
Well, I can understand their frustration, though, because especially up in the mainstream, there's such a level of nepotism that it gets irritating. And like I tell folks on, the big days when I really want to jabber, the mainstream has chased off more talent in this art form than anything else. They have discouraged people, and on the plus side, we're getting some great video games, we're getting some great TV, we're getting some great movies by people that are literally frustrated comic book people that grew up reading the stuff that we did and wanted to draw or write these characters and ran into that brick wall, whether it was an editor, a distributor, or a publisher or whatever up there in the mainstream. So they said, oh, look, screw you. I'm just going to go off and do my own stuff. And they end up in another medium.
Exactly. And what have we lost because of that?
Yeah.
Rising Tide Broadcast Network says we need Buck Rogers, like the 80s glorious fun romp of adventure, where, to borrow from B5, we were the good guys, they were the bad guys, and they made a very satisfying thump when they hit the ground. Life is grim and broody enough. Amen. And Comics Talk Pops Van Zandt says, awesome, Cindy. Yeah, yay, Cindy. You go, girl. And Eric Hawkins has 11 days left in the Zombieful World of Oz #3, Dark Side of the Moon, via Kickstarter. Please check it out. He's got some great thank you stuff that he offers you too. And Cindy is super cool, definitely. Nita Lanning says, social media presence and educating yourself on the industry from the inside out. You guys talked about, studying for 6 months. About going into your venture. I did the same thing when I was looking at going into a book publishing. I spent 6 months while I'm creating the work. I spent 6 months trying to figure out where the mines were all being buried. So, and Cindy Cap says, oh no, I ran out of break. The pattern was that except retailers and 2 relatives, all backers were under $30, most of them $15. Don't forget tip your host. Thank you. And bring cookie home. Don't forget to tip your host. Sign up for Rising Tide's newsletter. Very good advice. And go support Animalize. So we have to come up with stretch goals. Definitely. Let's put Cindy on the spot. Let's get her over 3,400. We got time. And let's make her really uncomfortable with how she's going to have to create some new stuff to make us happy. So, but yeah, I think I remember at least a few years ago, like the average pledge was like $25. Now, is that something you found on the Indie Volt Revolt campaign? Are they all cheap like me?
Everything there is pretty simple. It was my first campaign, so I wanted to keep it stripped down. So there's no real prints. There's a couple of sketches that we've promised folks, and a print from Daphne that's coming. That'll be a part of the package. But the book is $20. It's not $19.99. It'll be $19.99 on the cover price, but it's $20 plus shipping. And the physical books itself, I'm keeping to just United States, because shipping's so wackadoo, and we don't know what the shipping rates are going to be by the time the book gets done, because things are changing so much thanks to all of the circumstances. But I do offer a PDF file for anybody else for $10, and there will be a few extra books in the PDF file. There will be a few extra physical books in the package with the Revolt book, the physical copies. Plus, I have an add-on as you go out the door that's called Help Clean Out Randy's Basement, where I'm offering 5 comics for $15 plus $5 more in shipping of stuff that I've worked on over the years. From some of it's 30 years old, some of it's 25 years old, all of it's great reading that I'll sit there and actually autograph and put in the package as well if they want that add-on. And it makes my wife happy knowing that the basement is getting a little cleaner.
Oh man, don't let my wife hear you say that. She'll have me put out a comic. Anyway, Nita Lanning says, "Amen." As soon as you see click a signs GTFO and don't look back. Amen.
Yeah,
Amen
yeah,
to that.
you know, because there are some people who they want you in their clique because you're actually keeping them afloat. You
Yeah.
are. They're using you to stay afloat and to try to spread their doctrine. And a lot of these people came from one freaking book that I'm not going to show. I'm not, Randy, don't show it. Don't show it. But
that's just one of many. There've been a lot of people that have set themselves up to be, to draw a bad example, probably, or an over-exaggerated example, to be Jim Joneses in this industry.
Well, yeah, but like
they're looking for people to come along and drink their Kool-Aid and follow on their coattails, and hey, I can get you into the business. Just follow me.
They've studied that book, and there's some of them utilize the same tactics they can find. That's preached in that book about how to make it in the comic industry, and it's sickening. And watching people don't talk. Look, we don't have a problem sharing information. I've reached out to other podcasters and publishers and said, hey, if you ever need any help with graphics or anything, let me know. I'm learning, so if you want any help, let me know. We all share information and stuff. But there are people who are like, no, don't do that. Stay within this clique, because I don't want you outside of my wall where you might find the truth about me, and who I am and what I actually stand for. So amen. It's Nina's right.
And remember, fandom is a community. I mean, there's people here that want to help each other and help each other out. But when you're actually creating these books, you are in the industry. When you're working, even if you're doing it as a hobby, it's an industry. And as an industry, we want to help each other. We want to tell each other how we made money and what they can do to help make money. We want to, because just like your network here, rising tide raises all ships. Everybody who cooperates with everybody helps everybody. And that's really the key to this, is to enlarge this art form out there to be accessible to everyone. And we're still getting prejudice from the 50s and this horrible mindset that comics are kitty trash. And we're slowly getting past that because there's so much money in the imagination in these books. But we really need to push it as an art form. And as an art form, it needs to be everywhere with everybody, with every opinion and every point of view out there, as long as it's got quality to it and people gravitate towards it. That's the key.
Exactly. And, and I love the spirit of cooperation that a lot of us have. This morning's show would not exist were that not true.
Yeah.
Because I love being on Randy's show. I love popping in and watching Indie Volt, even when I've got nothing to say, which is most of the time, even on my own shows. But no, when Indie Volt succeeds, we succeed too here at Rising Tide, because people gravitate to you. They see quality product that you guys are putting out, and when you see like Indie Volt Revolt, that's a great looking book. I'm really excited to get that.
That's part of the fun of doing the Revolt book, is after we were doing the podcast for a year or so, I'm like, we got all these people on that are really talented. We need to do a book where we show that's got all of these people in one place, where you go, oh, Daphne Lage was on Sunday Funny. She did that cat story in the Revolt book. Wow, she's got talent. That way we're showing folks that not only are we entertaining you, but we know what we're doing. That's really the key for behind that Revolt book.
Exactly. And I'm honestly, and I'm not just saying this because you guys are here, because I've been talking about you even when you guys aren't, but I've been pushing that book as much as I can, because I want to see more stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, key, that something a lot of people don't remember, is if you see something you like, if you see something like we're doing that you enjoy, check out Indie Volt, because I will recommend them wholeheartedly, and check them out, because now your world's expanded. You're getting more of what you enjoy. And if somebody isn't putting out something that you enjoy, whether it's a podcast or books or comic books, whatever, then make your own.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. And if you can't do it, then hire somebody, hire somebody, because then you're creating opportunities for other people. And Bill Sarden, you've got a great question, but we'll get some comments in first. Eric Hawkins says, I was listening when you guys read that letter about the X-Men book. I couldn't believe someone would do that. Yeah. It makes me nuts to see, well, why can't I do my own Batman book? Why can't I do my own Star Wars book? You don't own the characters. That's why. Do your own. Do something.
This little thing called copyright and IP law. But check that out.
It gets crazy too, because you're looking at things from your point of view, and you don't realize that a lot of these kids coming up don't know. Yeah, that they definitely don't know what you know. Varian asks me questions all the time, especially about artists and stuff, and I go, "What? You don't know who that person is? What's going on?"
Yeah.
But it's important that's why I think these podcasts are so important. Is because you're getting that information out to people. Don't do your own Batman book. Don't do your own X-Men book, kids. You will get into trouble.
Yeah.
And you don't want to F with the mouse.
No.
That's a big rule. Once you become a professional and you hear some stories, though all of those stories are dead accurate, you don't want to legally mess with the mouse.
No, or AT&T.
Or AT&T. Well, Warner's in general. Yeah. But AT&T owns Warner's for now. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, for the moment. Because I remember you talk about misinformation. One of the reasons I wanted to start my own comic book broadcast on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. #always is I tuned into one because I've been looking for more shows like the Indie Volt family of shows, or it would give me like some stuff to look forward to. And I tuned into one. This guy had something like 37,000 subscriptions, and he led off his broadcast in the first minute. Goes, well, I remember the start of the direct sales system back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Now notice Randy and I are laughing ironically. So
I'm really laughing because I think I know who you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, and I'm like, okay, that was a quick disillusionment on this channel, and I thought, somebody's got to be putting out the correct information. And like on our show, we have put out stuff that we have stated in error, and then we make a retraction. It doesn't.
I caught that guy spouting venom on Twitter, and I ended it with a hashtag "Get an education."
That's a trend.
I've watched I start shows like that. I'll talk about the golden age of comics. That's around the time the Image started. That's my golden age. But I get it. And Randy, I sometimes I use like me not knowing certain things or not knowing to really irritate Randy. I don't know who the person is, but I'll look like we're at con. And I'm sitting there with Randy and riding on his coattails, and I'm like looking around the show, and I said, that guy has a big long line. Who's Bob Layton, Randy? And he's like, what? He stopped what he was doing.
And I met Bob Layton before he was Bob Layton.
Yeah, and I knew who he was, but I just wanted to see Randy. He stopped. He was doing something else, and he stopped. Like, what? I thought he was.
That's because I never know when he's kidding, because this all started when he asked me who Wally Wood was, and I'm like, what?
That was genuine. That was genuine.
Yeah. And then when Varian woke up in the hospital an hour later.
No, it's more like a half an hour of him going, shut up, Zim, shut up. Okay, I got it. Just, okay.
And Randy's up to, no, wait, I'm up to 1952 now. Come on, be patient.
Okay, with 10, underagents, got it. Just shut up. Yeah.
Oh, we got some more great comments. And yes, Bill, I will get back to your question. A lot of people want you to be great, says the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, as long as you don't go higher than them. Those are the ones to avoid. Yeah, most definitely. It's like, I've got this great idea and I need you to put it out. Yeah. And I think we've all fallen for that at one point or another. Or maybe it's just me.
On the opposite side of that, I just saw a panel, kind of a made-up panel that Brian Polito did a couple of weeks ago, where he talks about what he did for Coffin Comics. And I thought that was amazing, and that there needs to be more people like that out there doing things like that, going, hey, I did this. It might not be your niche, but it was my niche. This is what I started doing. This is what I ended up doing. This is how I did Coffin Comics. This is how I grew it. And that was really a fascinating video. I recommend it to everybody to go if they're interested in doing crowdfunding in that, because the Coffin Comics and Brian has really set a mark as far as turning crowdfunding into a business. And he's learned to be really good at it, and he's passing some of that along absolutely free. And it literally could have been a class that he could have charged $10 a head on or more to do at a show or something. But no, he did a video, he stuck it out there, and he's showing everybody. Peter Cimetti's the same way. If you want to learn how to color and have yourself printed on newsprint, if you want to know about the printing business or any of that, he's got little instructionals out there too at the Alterna Comic site, where he sits back and spreads some of that knowledge out. And those are really good videos.
Yeah, and that's the way to pay it forward to helping the next generation come up and do it right. Nita Lanning says it's really hard to see people for who they really are until you've already walked through the door, but just turn around and walk back out. Completely agree, Nita. Completely agree. Run if you can. Break that door down. It's for your own safety. Rick Bradley says, write your own book that is inspired by Batman or X-Men. Don't try a steal of someone else's IP. Lord knows the mouse has no forgiveness in his heart. Ask his spy, Eric Hawkins. Yeah. Eric did an illustration. He does a lot of the drink and draw type of shows on YouTube. And he did a beautiful portrait of the Mandalorian, which he made a print and sold it on Etsy. And he got a cease and desist letter from the mouse basically saying, we've got our eye on you like forever. Oh, and by the way, Eric, if you ever see anyone else doing this sort of thing, let us know, would you? So Eric,
really?
Eric yeah.
Wow. Yeah. They're getting tighter and tighter all the time. So.
Oh, they are. That's I live in terror of them.
That's because they're losing. They've lost so much money, and especially in their comics and their media, they're just seeing money drop down to the drain. So they're going to start grasping at every little straw that they think that is making money that they're not getting a taste on and slam them. So be very careful out there, all you printmakers, because when you come back to conventions, it might not be the same as when you left.
Yeah, so. Eric Hodson, friend of the show, Dreaded Dinosaur, he's had I think 2 stores taken down by order of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, WWE. Because Eric does these wrestling prints where he'll take historical wrestling matches and merge them with the classic comics. So it's like a really cool creation he's done. But WWE is like, hey, they'll figure out little things he can't use any type of like logo, which is fine. It's like, okay, I won't use your logos. But sometimes they're like, we own that character. We own this version, so you can't say, like. I'm not sure. It's like, I know they own Bret Hart, but like they're like, you can't say Bret the Hitman Hart, or a variation of that. So he's found clever ways around it. But they took down some of his online stores because,
I think Eric Hawkins is a good example of that. He does Zombiful World of Oz, and Oz itself is in public domain, but there are certain key points that you think are associated with Oz that are actually associated with the MGM movie that if you hit close on, MGM will slam you. So you have to know what's in public domain and what's not in public domain, what you have to do. Because I printed a couple of Oz comics as I was Arrow. And we were always aware and very careful about the imagery and the likenesses and stuff. Your flying monkeys have to be different. And it gets so to the point where you can't show ruby slippers because they're not ruby in the books. They're ruby in the movies. Right. Because the red showed off. You can't have the witch burn anything like Surrender Dorothy in the sky because you're getting close to the MGM movie and you're not sticking with the books. You have to know what's in the books in order to do a public domain Oz based property and know what's in the MGM movie that you can't use.
Yeah, and that's why Eric went through the original L. Frank Baum books and is drawing solely from them because he's done the research. He knows you don't mess with MGM, you don't mess with any big organization that has these IPs. So very good advice. The Rising Tide Broadcast Network said, I watched the Mouse's Lawyer Hit Squad walk through a gaming convention with a literal pad of pre-printed cease and desist orders shutting down fan art booths. Hair Mouse dominates without mercy. That is so true.
Wonder how long ago that was.
See, what time is it now? Anyway,
that was just recent, or if that was a couple years ago, or what? So
I've heard of them doing.
I know they're
things
getting
like that.
stricter. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just waiting for the comic companies to do the same.
Yeah.
Neil Lanning says, like waking up after a night out drinking, rolling over and seeing what you went home with, get dressed or walk away quietly and quickly.
Yeah.
Very good.
Gnaw your arm off of you. Gnaw your arm off if you have to.
That's right. Save yourself.
Yeah.
Save yourself. And Eric Hawkins says you got to do tons of research for public domain. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of stuff that you have to know what is public domain, what is not, and
some of it's gray. Yeah, some of it's really gray. You have to be very careful. Sherlock Holmes is, I think, one of the few properties that have actually been defined. The line is there that says this is in public domain and this is not. But even still, some of the stuff that's not in public domain.
Did you freeze?
I think he did. And it was like I move around to make sure I'm still moving. So
I was gonna say that I know some gentlemen who a group of people that they got a popular 80s show, and they were out there, they were throwing their hands up like, yeah, we got this, we're the new owners of this property, because they were very familiar. He came back for a second.
He's trying.
Yeah, he's coming back. There he is.
Wow, that must have been my Comcast.
Yeah, you went away for a second there. You froze on it.
Suddenly we were grinding. Wheel of Fate. Yeah.
Usually it's me. So
me and Brian were great. You had froze for like.
It's a shame you missed it, man. We were pretty profound too. I think we changed some lives.
Yeah,
cool.
But what happens? They ended up getting the copyright, and they found out that they only actually got the copyright to the name. And that was only for they found out it was only for like printed media,
right?
It's not for any type of cartoon, video game, TV, because a lot of times you have to copyright those things in those different mediums,
right? Exactly.
And because and because they didn't do that, they really look kind of. And by the way, they didn't get the IP; they got the name, which is a very basic name. So they kind of they thought they hit the mother load. They thought, hey, this has been abandoned. Let's get it. We're gonna revamp this, and it's not what happened. And they're very sad. They're kind of embarrassed too, because they went out there like, we're about to change the world. We're smart geniuses. Check this out. It's like if you find out, like, Ninja Turtles is or Voltron is now up for grade. Like, yes, I can get Voltron, and you grab it and you realize you've got nothing. You paid $600-700 for, maybe even $1,000 for nothing.
That's why I tell people, don't be your own lawyer. It's like that old thing about like the old thing we used to grow up with, like anyone who is their own attorney has a fool for a client. Definitely get professional help, and I don't, and also hire a lawyer while you're at it. So Bill Sarton has a question here, and thank you for waiting, Bill. There's been a lot of changes in mainstream comics as of late, with different characters taking on the roles of Batman, Captain America, etc. Do you think that these writers go too far with their changes simply because they can't create a new, interesting hero to sell their books?
Me first.
Oh yeah,
definitely. Look, I'm all for mixing up some things, having fun with a character taking the mantle of another one, just for maybe a quick issue or two, as long as we know that the original is coming back at some point. And like when they shot Captain America and killed him, I was like, okay, Cap's gonna eventually come back. Steve Rogers will be back, but what are we gonna do with it between here and there? And to have Falcon put in the costume in the comics, I wasn't too much a fan of. For some reason, I'm much more okay with it in the movies. I was like, okay, this kind of works here. For some reason, it failed me in the comic. I didn't like it, but in the movies, I'm like, this isn't bad. Now I like to see what they do with it. But sometimes it does come across as lazy writing. Sometimes it comes across as pandering too, because like there was an issue, one of my favorite issues of right after Cap's death, where Hawkeye has come back into town, and he puts on the Captain America uniform, and he's one of the few people in the Marvel universe that can throw that shield with any accuracy.
Right.
It's not, it's not an easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts the costume on, and he's out there doing that. People think, oh my goodness, Cap is back, because I guess he looks like Steve Rogers. And I thought that was interesting. But that was only for one issue,
right.
And then they bounced it around, and I would sometimes I wish like they wouldn't do it for like race swapping the characters. I wish they wouldn't do that, because in the comic, for example, Falcon is such a cool character anyway that doesn't get enough respect as Falcon.
Yes.
Enough, like, why did we have to put him in the Captain America uniform?
Yeah.
Did that really bump up? Did that bump up his did that promote him in any way? And the thing is, eventually Cap's gonna come back and get the title back. So now, is that a demotion? Is he back to just being Falcon again? And it just, to me, I don't like it when they do that, because there's no plan. There's like, hey, we're gonna make this guy Falcon, or we're gonna make Laura Kinney Wolverine now.
Yeah.
I liked it better when she was X-23. She had her own identity. When they put identity politics into it, that's when I don't like it, because identity for these characters should be them making their own identity, not assuming the mantle of a legacy character.
Right.
Because you're always going to then be, it's like being the president. You're going to be looked at by what other presidents have done.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going to always be looked at. She'll never be Wolverine to some people, because they're going to always think about Logan as Wolverine.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, I think they simply do it to create a buzz, to try to get some type of press, and then they get insulted when people are like, I don't like this comic, I don't like your ideas, and they get, oh, I'm gonna do this to spite you now. And I've seen spite writing.
Oh yeah,
from creators. I've seen it. So yeah, that's it. That's my time.
Oh no, no! I agree, especially about the Falcon. We were talking about that last night. In fact, that he started out as a strong character, his own character, and he wasn't like Cap's sidekick. He was Cap's partner. He was an equal. Yep. So and I think it goes back to the old Stan Lee illusion of change, where it's like, in this issue, Peter Parker quits the Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
Then you have like a year or two, you have a certain changeover of the audience that doesn't remember. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, Peter Parker returns to the Daily Bugle Collector's Items Classic, sort of thing. And he does this like every 2 years. He quits and he comes back.
And it's say they're so weird to try to make it a race thing. I'll give you a perfect example why it's not a race thing.
Okay.
Perfect example. And a lot of people, I've been cussed out for this on Twitter. Here's why it's not a race thing. One of the figures I keep on my desk.
Mm-hmm. Let me get
Optimus Prime. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I love Optimus Prime. Love him to death.
He
got killed in the Transformers, the animated movie. Mm-hmm. They killed him, and they replaced him with Hot Rod, who became Rodimus Prime. People hated Rodimus Prime. I'm talking about, they loathed him. They hated that character.
Yeah.
They're robots. There's no race. They're robots. Yeah. People love Optimus Prime, and the minute you try to replace him with someone else, they get upset. And even, now the folks at Hasbro, if you look at any of the documentaries, they're like, that was a stupid idea. Why did we do that? It was the most dumb idea we ever did. They thought they were just changing the toy line out. They thought they were going to kill all these characters, create a whole new toy line, and get more people, get these kids to go buy this new toy line. And that didn't work. Kids they were in love with Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, those characters. They didn't want that. And Hasbro, they were like, oh, well, they were in production at the time, was the G.I. Joe movie, where they were getting ready to kill off Duke. Yeah. And because they seen how it worked with Prime, they said, oh, wait a minute, no. So there's this little stuck in line of dialogue at the end that Duke's gonna make it. He's fine. Because he was supposed to die and be replaced by his brother. His younger brother was supposed to become the new leader of G.I. Joe. And that didn't happen because they seen what had happened to but those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. Exactly. And that's what we're seeing now.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that was a lame idea, but they can get a sticker that lets them park real close to the shop door with that sort of behavior. And the Rising Tide Broadcast Network We agree. We still hate Rodimus Prime.
Mhm.
And Rick Bradley says, when Optimus died, a ghost started cutting onions, and it was horrible.
Yep.
And the incident with the pre-printed cease and desist letters was 5 or so years
Wow.
later.
Yeah.
So,
And they're more stricter now. So
oh yeah,
be careful, folks.
Yeah, they're practically totalitarian now. For the Deso Small Press Publisher, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Anthony Ball. He had to redesign his Frankenstein for his Disco Frankenstein property because of Universal Pictures. That's true.
Yeah.
The original, I want to say Glenn Pierce, but the original Boris Karloff makeup with the distinctive profile of Frankenstein is trademarked.
Yeah,
and that's one of the fights I had when I wrote Santa Sign. My artist wanted to do a very Boris Karloff type illustration. I'm like, no. I don't want to, be famous for the guy that lost his publishing empire with his first book. So.
Is it the square head and the electrodes in the neck thing? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's primarily the electrodes, I think, that are in the flattish head. And yes, and Jody McPhee continues subtle things like the bolt on the net. It is specific to Universal Pictures and can't be used. This is why I went with the description from Mary Shelley, which actually does not resemble the movie monster in the least. So. And we are now caught up with the comments, gentlemen.
Well, when I wrote War of the Worlds for Caliber, which I still might get back to because I've still got stories for that, I had to be real careful and not use the MGM anything from there, not have the heat ray, not use the triangular ship, anything like that. We went right back to the source material, and luckily Wells donated all of his notes to the University of Illinois. And they've done a beautiful annotated version of War of the Worlds that goes in that shows what he was thinking and what he was doing, and this was doing this and that was doing that. It's really a fascinating book. But you really have, if you're going to adapt something like that, you really have to know your source material.
Yeah. And that's always a good idea anyway, because that's where the basic excitement comes from, I think. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Varian, please.
I read an article that had they made sure to point out that Frankenstein was not he didn't have bolts in his neck. It was electrodes. Right. I was like, those aren't bolts. I did want to tell you guys though, one of the most clever Frankenstein and maybe here scripts that I'd ever seen was it was a reimagining of Frankenstein, but he was made from the the discarded parts of slaves.
Oh.
And it was very interesting. And that writer, I'm working on the comic adaptation of it with that writer. And it's hopefully I'll be able to put it out soon. But it's Frankenstein's black, and it's like, holy crap, we can work with this.
Yeah,
but
that's great.
Interesting twist.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that a lot. Eric Hawkins says from YouTube, even with all the great music tracks being played while Rodimus, with the Rodimus scenes, didn't make us like him.
I'm gonna steal one more minute of time here from you, Brian. But there was when my mother and father had taken me to see Transformers the movie, and my aunt lived with us at the time, and my aunt is she was more like a big sister because she was, I was a kid. She was like 18, 19 years old. So I was like 4. But she says that I came home after the movie with my little 5-year-old, 4-year-old Varian, because I had been 4, with his Optimus Prime figure in his hand. And she opened the door. She said, I looked up at her with my eyes full of water, and I said, Optimus Prime is dead. And she said I had tears streaming down my face, and I went in my room and I cried and I slept with the figure, and because he didn't come back at the end of the movie, like I had been assured my mother, he'll be back, he'll be fine, you'll see, he'll come back. No, he didn't come back. Not for a series. It was series and series later.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was the defining moment of my childhood.
And the trauma that has guided you ever since. And since that time, he sits in a lonely vigil in his study saying, I will fight crime. All I'm looking for is a sign. And suddenly somebody throws an Optimus Prime figure through the window. He goes, that is it. It is an omen. I shall become a broadcaster. Anyway.
Yeah. Or a semi-truck drives by here.
Yeah, exactly.
I shall become trans man. No, wait.
Oh, and on that note, as the audience goes, wait a minute, what are we doing now? Anyway, anyway, guys, thank you for being here, both of you. This has been a genuine treat for me.
Thanks for having us. So,
thank you.
Fun.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It has been great fun. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a chance to tell people how to follow you and mention Indie Volt Revolt vigorously if you must. I think you should. And then please stick around for a moment so I can say goodbye to you properly. Okay? Sure. All right. Let's start with Randy and then we'll close with Varian and then me. So Randy, take the floor. How can people stay in touch with you, sir?
You can follow me on Facebook under Randy Zimmerman. On Twitter, I'm Randy Zim, though I'm not up there very often. On Facebook, right now, we have an Arrow Comics 4.0 page. So please go over there and like that. I'm going to be posting all the announcements for upcoming books, and there's still at least 3 books that are coming that we haven't made firm announcements yet on that are coming out in September as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. Please follow us there. Please go over to the Indiegogo, to Indie Volt Revolt. All you have to do at Indiegogo is type in Revolt, and you'll see the Indiegogo, or not Indiegogo, Indie Volt Revolt pop up there. It's a sequential art collection we're incredibly proud of. A lot of the folks, like we said, that have been over on Indie Volt are in there so that you can actually associate some of the talent with the people that you hear speaking and know that how knowledgeable we are in this art form. That's the whole reason behind that. Plus, it's the first book back from Arrow Comics returning, so we're really proud of that. It closes out tonight. We're going to do a live stream on the Indie Volt channel from 7 to 9, celebrating the closing of the campaign. And once that's done, it's done. We're not going to offer it again. We're going to print as close to orders as we comfortably can. There'll be a few extra for damages or whatever, but after that, it's done. And then as soon as I can finish the print file, I'll be sending it back out to you. Other than that, you can look for Arrow Comics, hopefully coming up soon on Instagram, also on Twitter, and of course, the Indie Volt Radio Network. You just pop over there, and or you can listen to us on indievolt.com. There's a link for the radio channel, and you can catch up on us there. So thank you very much. And thanks, Brian, for having us on.
Oh, thank you, Randy. I appreciate you so much. And also don't forget Sunday Funnies.
Oh, yeah.
We'll run that spot at the end of the show.
Appreciate it.
Oh, I'm glad to. And thank you for being here. And thank you, Varian Grant. I'm sorry, we've interrupted him in a very important moment. Varian, we'll just close out now. I'll take the screen. Anyway, Varian, tell people how they can keep tabs on you because you're so amazing.
Yeah, sorry, I caught me in my Transformers playing with my figures. Varian Grant on social media, KYD_V on Twitter. My personal website is whenweriot.com, which has got me in a lot of trouble lately, especially last year. I had a lot of tense conversations with GoDaddy about what are you doing with your site. Yeah, Indie Volt. Please check us out, indievolt.com. If you have a Android phone, you can download Indie Volt Radio. It's free. It's if you have an iPhone, you can listen to Indie Volt Radio on Streamer or TuneIn. And those are apps that you can download on iPhone. We will be going to iPhone natively pretty soon, but there's a couple other I's have to be dotted and T's need to be crossed before I can do that. And then you can go to indievolt.com to the music section on the front page. You can listen in live there as well. Also, you can ask your Alexa device to play Indie Volt Radio for you, and she will do that because that's what she's meant to do. So she'll play Indie Volt Radio for you there. Indie Volt TV on Roku and Roku-enabled devices. We have our own streaming network. It's a lot of independent movies there, some wrestling content. The Indie Volt videos, when they tell us we can't say that on YouTube, we say, fine, we'll take it to our own platform where you have no power here. Check out Indie Volt Revolt again on Indiegogo. We'll be back our regular programming, Indie Volt Live Wire at 9 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time, a flagship show. it came from Webtoon, which is going to get a name change pretty soon here, where Eric and myself discuss indie comics or comics that are digital. So we look at comics that are on Webtoon, Tapas, and a couple other places that are popping up all over the internet. We look at those digital comics and try to get a little spotlight on those. That show was growing. It's a show that has a smaller fan base, but it's starting to grow because these are good comics that are coming out and they need some attention, a little love. Then Geekgasm on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Indie Vote Breakfast Buzz at 9 a.m. on Thursday. We're gonna bring Art of War back pretty soon here. Just waiting on our best time to do that. And then Saturday is Pitches Be Crazy at 2:30 p.m. And then Randy has Sunday Funnies at 9 a.m. on Sunday. And then Special Issues is gonna slide into his regular time at 2 o'clock on Sundays as well. It's Meet the Press meets comics. It's always a drama-filled good time.
Definitely a good time with Indie Volt. Thank you very much, both of you, for being on the show. Randy, Zimmerman, Varian, Grant. And again, I'm going to mute you guys. And like I said, I want to say goodbye to you properly after the show. But first, we're going to talk real fast about Indie Volt Revolt sequential art collection. Please check it out. It is fully funded. It's at squinting to see it. I better get a look on the big screen. $22.85. They've made their goal. They've got 60 backers, but they could use some more. Let's get 15 more. So they have to add more pages. It's already 130 pages. It's already awesome. Check out the art there. Check out everything you see there. It is a good looking book, and I can't wait to get my copy. And again, thank you guys very much. And I'm here. We're going to close out the show. Thank you, everyone. We've had some swerves from the usual formats this week. We appreciate your indulging me because we've had some great content, I think, this week. And if you want some more great content, check out tonight, Drinking with the Davies at 6 p.m. And then the Historical Fencing Guild at 8 p.m. Michaela Jade's Tidbits and Scribbles will not be on tonight, but she'll be on with some special broadcasting next week. And then Stupid O'Clock tomorrow night on Saturdays at 11 p.m. That's a great conversational show. And then Comics, Chaos, and Sass with Heather or Ellen on Sunday nights. And then we will be back Monday morning with more of our zaniness here on Nevermind the Furthermore. Also, thank you to Plasma Fire Graphics. When the look of your book matters to you, thank you for sponsoring this episode. Plasma Fire Graphics, check them out. They've got all kinds of graphics. They're geniuses at it. They can do book trailers. They can do your book covers, whatever you need. Also, the graphics to sell your products. Check out Jeffrey Hayes at plasmafiregraphics.com and also check out their Facebook page, Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Also, thank you to the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Please check out our flurry of shows. We're not as prolific as Indie Volt, perhaps, but we're trying. Indie Volt's a big inspiration to us, so please check both networks out because you don't need spare time anyway. Take a screenshot of this schedule here, and because we've got your information and entertainment covered 7 days a week. Thank you again to all of our Patreon subscribers for their ongoing support. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can directly support your favorite creators, but you get stuff for it. So please check us out at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. Also check out Snow Ambition, my brand new book from Ben Books, out recently, and it's doing pretty well. So please check it out. It's a great crime adventure story that I think you are going to dig. It's a real quick read, and you'll love Abraham Snow. And so, again, thank you to Varian, Grant, and Randy Zimmerman for being here. And thank you to you, and thank you to everyone that was in our chat. All the great comments. We appreciate you all. And with that, as we scroll down to where we need to be for the next shot, anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you Monday morning on Nevermind the Furthermore. So please remember, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.
Now, every Sunday morning, longtime independent comics creator and Indie Volt podcaster Randy Zimmerman hosts a discussion on the lighter side of comics, the more whimsical and fun comics out there on the Sunday Funnies. That's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday on Indie Volt, indievolt.com, the Indie Volt YouTube channel, and the usual Indie Volt sites on Facebook. Listen in, won't you? Participate in the chat. Let's have some fun. See you there.
Thank you for watching Nevermind the Furthermore, a Rising Tide broadcast network production. If you enjoyed any part of this show, please give it a like or a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and consider becoming one of our Patreon supporters. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Nevermind the Furthermore.